Welcome back, everyone. It's great to see you again. For our next presentation, I would like to invite Miss Mateja Dermastia. She is the CEO of Anteja, Africa, and she's here to talk about transparency in agriculture for better returns. Welcome, Mateja. Thank you for joining us. Please hop on stage. So, Mateja is a serial entrepreneur, and she's an expert in emerging agri-based value chains for purposes of investment, promotion, job creation, and growth. She has coached African agri-processors on the use of transparency and traceability tools. For the World Banks, she led projects on agribusiness value chain and a project on the development of a plastic circular transformation strategy in Ivory Coast. She supported TVET centers in Ethiopia and Tanzania in their respective strategies and implementation plans for promoting investments in training centers to reach internationally recognized vocational educational standards. In 2019, she led the development of Fit2App platform, and in 2020 co-founded Anteja Africa Ltd. Anteja Africa was born during COVID-19, but evolved into a frontrunner on value chain transparency in East Africa. With a passion for the economic development of East Africa, the Anteja Africa team is helping African brands become transparency champions of their industry using the Fit2App solutions. Anteja Africa is building the African agribusinesses' capacity to act as a trustful partner in short, fair, and sustainable value chains connecting Africa and Europe. Welcome, Mateja. Thank you for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Uriah. Thank you, everybody, to give me a chance to talk to you today. And in a topic which is a bit new, but still not so much new, that is not get attention from agribusinesses, from scholars, from MIT, from Harvard, and from many universities and business developer in Africa and Europe. However, today we are talking about the opportunities which offer value chain transparency to African agribusiness. So it was already saying by Uri, and I will not repeat, what I did in my past, but what we are doing now with Anteja Africa is we're really focusing on African agribusinesses, and we struggle and we help, to improve the market position and making agribusiness value chains shorter, transparent, and allow them to be more productive and more profitable. And what we, it's, as I'm saying, it's not really new, but several researches conducted by the end of the COVID in 2020 push transparency to be a trend #1 globally. And what is the big difference, what is we observing and what is coming is that it's not only about the quality of the product, but it's more about how this product is produced and how it's used and what kind of impact the product has on the environment, on the health, and the social communities, on the origin where the ingredients are coming from. And then, of course, it's coming to the point, what is transparency? We did research, in the last year, and people connect transparency to the transparency on the politics, for transparency to in the governance, but actually there is very little understanding what is transparency in the value chains. And why so much understanding is going on in my supply chain, what increase to improve sustainability practices in the supply chain. And then in addition to this is how to communicate this important information internally to my supply chain, to my company, and even more important, how to communicate important information to the stakeholders. And changes which not coming only from the COVID, it's only that COVID really push on them, is that consumers demand more and more information about the products, and about from where is the origin of the ingredients, what is the social and environmental impact along the value chain. Our research shows, that almost 92% of the companies in the developed worlds now try to improve visibility on the supply chain, because what will become very invisible and is surface as an important obstacle in a COVID is that companies realize that they do not know actually from where they're supplying the raw materials or where they're supplying the ingredients or the parts from their product. And because of all of this, all this pressure, from the companies of manufacturers are pushing down to the supply chain, to those who are producing ingredients, but this also offer now the extreme opportunity, a real opportunity to the agribusinesses in Africa. And what can happen? It starts first with something which is bad and it is not so nice. What can happen if you are not transparent? It can happen like happened to the avocado producers back in October 1920, sorry. At Tesco, Sainsbury and Lidl, over the night, drops avocado supplier from Kenya out of the stores. And what was the reason? It was not the reason their avocado was bad. Avocado was absolutely super good, but what was not good was how the producer treat the suppliers and how the producers make environmental topics, make good impacts on the environment. And maybe, because I'm not here to judge what is right and what is wrong, it might be that even producer is doing everything right, but the producer was not capable to present transparently the sustainable practice. There is one even more recent event, when Mars, Nestle, and Hershey faced a serious child law slavery suit in United States. And what's happening? So it was kids who claim that they were moved from Mali to Ivory Coast, and those kids says that they didn't get payment. Those kids said that they were exposed to the pesticides, herbicides without any protecting clothing. Okay, again, we are not here to judge what is right and what is wrong, but the issue is, that if the agribusinesses has tools in their hands and present their sustainable practice, and they can present how they are dealing with the child labor, how they are dealing with the workforce, such lawsuits can be prevented. And then, the questions arrived, is transparency is so important? Why actually no one is using and why it's going so slow? One thing that I already explained is actually people and the companies doesn't really understand what transparency is about. The second thing is that many companies do not know which kind of information are important, how to collect this information, and how to aggregate them and display and communicate to the stakeholders. Of course, always is the issue of the cost, and many companies still understand that transparency is a cost and is not investment in the future. On the other side, we do have companies that still believe this is nice to have and do not understand that this become must to have and is a new way how to conduct the business. And there is something very good about the transparency. It is good that the consumers are willing to pay, upon one of the research which was done by Harvard and MIT, 10% more for the product which is from the companies which provide greater supply chain transparency. 10% is really, really a lot. And on the top of this, it's important to understand that transparency is not another compliance. It is just an important how to conduct business in a post-pandemic world. Where is the opportunities? Why to do something? Everybody will ask, why I have to do something if there is no opportunities? No. Opportunities are really big and important. Through the transparency, agribusinesses can build and become a trustworthy partner in the value chains. So I'm the one, who are a good partner. I can do the business with you because I'm the good partner. And this also open absolutely new trade relationships as I'm offering something and you're buying from me because I'm good. It's not just that you're coming around the corner and I will give you my produce. And what is something that we are missing still in Africa, but it's the bunch of small companies, new startups, you know, that we are observing, at least in East Africa, who are absolutely on the driving seat, and they can step in and to have the leadership role in the value chain. And for this, you know, transparency can really help them to take over such an opportunity. And in the end of the day, on the bottom line, what we have, it's increased returns, which enable investments and jobs. And Turi, at the beginning of this network event, already mentioned that the agribusinesses is the one who can really provide, enable investments and jobs. And how to do transparency, how to achieve the transparency, it might be simple, but there are some steps that has to be conducted. First is to understand where is my risk, that I understand how my supply chain is looking like, that I make the visual supply chain, that I understand this is from our farmers, this is my farmers, they're located here and here, this is my transportation, logistic, here is my process unit and what I'm processing, and here is my logistic, packaging utilities, and this is my buyers in the region, in the country, or internationally. And then, you know, to really go to the details, what kind of information has to be collected and has to be presented. It is the exercise which has to be done, and it's the best to do it in a close relationship, in a close communication with your suppliers and also with your buyers. And then, you know, when you have all this information combined together, you know, you can address the issue, you can optimize your supply chain, and you can start communicating information that you can control and that you can have it under control and use it as a tool for increase your competitiveness and manage the risk, that because you can control the information. And just, you know, for an idea, you know, how you can do your own transparency stress test is forget, first of all, about the quality of the product, because everybody believes that your product is good, but try to really understand what is the environment impact of your product on the environment, what is the social impact, and from where ingredients of your product are coming from. And then, you know, also understand where is your market. Is it in Africa? Is it in Europe? Or it is somewhere in the global scale? So we did such assessment for several crops, but in particular, you know, for crops like, call it superfruits, which can be moringa, which can be mango, shea, macadamia, and so on and so on. So it's, because it is already 10 minutes, I will stop here. And thank you very much for your attention, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mateja. This was a great presentation. We have 2 questions in the Q&A, so if you could please answer them briefly, that would be great. What is the top benefit of transparency, financially, economically speaking? Like when it comes to direct benefits.
Okay, direct benefits on transparency is your product will get better price on the market. You will get better trade relationship because you will be capable to be a good trader and good partner in the global international market. And take it in one sentence, your market position will be improved.
Thank you for that. And second question is, what is the African crop with the highest transparency within the value chain?
This is really super good question. And this is me. I love it. So we can go to the to the cacao, you know, and this is, you know, the crops which are under big pressure for a decade from the consumers that they want to see, okay? But I'm not saying that they are really the most transparent. I would advocate go for crops like moringa, and I will tell you why. Because moringa is a product which has to be absolutely organic and has to be produced on a very specific way. and it has to be transported on a very, very specific conditions. And to be moringa producer, for example, for exporting to Europe, you have to be absolutely transparent, because otherwise you just cannot do it. However, I would be very happy to make the stress tests of selected crops and figure out which is the one which is really most transparent. And we will actually do this, Uriah, and we can come back to you in about 1 month and you can share this information. We will do research on this.
That's great. I want to give you 2 last questions, which I think are extremely relevant, and then we're going to have to wrap up. How can we do transparency for livestock?
On the livestock, we do have much more experiences on the agri, in the plants and the fruits and things like this. However, when it comes to the livestock, it's the same. You have to trace back, from where your, let's say, stock is coming, what is the farming techniques, how, and it's getting even like in the plants complicated, what kind of food they're using, from where these food are coming, and control, and if they're using antibiotics and things like this. So those who are interested in the livestock transparency, they really have to go back to the farmers and really scan, the food chain and antibiotics and everything what they're using. And then, it's then all others is the same than in the plants. Not much difference, but it's more complicated in the processing stage because of the food.
Yes, I hear you. Thank you, Mateja. Last question, which got the most amount of votes, and I apologize for the other people asking questions, but we don't have enough time. Mateja, what rating agencies should companies coordinate with in order to build their reputation?
Okay. So it's to build the reputation, our experiences and research and working in not only in Africa shows that reputation is built through the actions. It's not someone who will build your reputation. It's about the company, and transparency can really, really help on this sense, And of course, we can build the reputation through the good certification process. You can do it with the partners, good universities. But in the end, it's the actions of the companies which count and build the reputation. So if you ask me, is the buyers in the end with whom you are building long-term relationship, and this is the best reputation that you can get.
Okay, that was our last question. Thank you, Mateja. That was great. Thank you so much for being with us. You can turn off your mic and camera. We learned a lot from your presentation and insights. We look forward to collaborating with you and making ag business in Africa in general more transparent. Now we have another very short networking session because we are behind on schedule before our next presentation, which is going to be really interesting. It's going to feature agriculture investments in Africa. Okay, so we invite you to visit Anteja's booth and learn about their Feed2 app and explore the designated tables we organized for you. Don't hesitate to reach out for any question or specific connection you're looking for, and enjoy. We're going to be here back in a couple of minutes. Thank you.